Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Hunter Starcraft. Welcome back for another Procast. Today's match is going to be on actually a 3-player map, Xel Naga Fortress. Spawning down here at the bottom left position, we have from Team Liquid.Tyler. Tyler was known as Noni in Starcraft Brood War. He spent some time in Korea. He's a really scary Protoss player. I'll talk more about him in a minute. But over here at the top left, our red Terran player from the Old Generations clan, we have Ensnare. Ensnare really was one of the dominant Terran players in the Korean scene and, well, known worldwide as well, especially during the beta. As of late, you could say that he has, fallen off a little bit. He's not as competitive in recent GSL tournaments, not as prominent a player. I'm not exactly sure why that is. It could be for a few different reasons. I know that some Korean pro gamers are forced to take time off of StarCraft sometimes to do their mandatory Korean military service for any able-bodied men living in Korea. But I'm not sure if that's the case for him or if he's just, just not performing as well as he used to. But either way, this should be a really good game. Ensnare versus Tyler here on Xel Naga Fortress. This is actually a 3-player map, as Tyler's probe now heading out to the middle of the map. There's actually just one Xel Naga watchtower on this map, and if I'm not mistaken, it does actually expire. I think that's one of the unique features of this map, is that central Xel Naga watchtower, after maybe about 5 game minutes or so, it explodes and no one can use it anymore. Mainly because I think it would be a little bit sort of cheap or imbalanced on this particular map, especially in a matchup like TVT, for example. Nice pylon placement as well, just getting good vision of Tyler's whole main base. Orbital command morphing in. Barracks is complete as well. Didn't bother walling off the top of his ramp or anything. Ensnare, more content just to keep his buildings closer to home, save a little mining time. And now Tyler's probe did scout the wrong way initially, but it is heading up to the main base of Ensnare. Now, is Ensnare going to be able to block it? Okay, Ensnare's putting down a command center, and he also has a Marine at the top of his ramp. So if he micros the Marine properly, and you know what? Tyler's not even going to take his chances. Tyler knows that Ensnare is obviously a really good opponent, and he knows that Ensnare is going to be able to micro his Marine to kill the probe off, no problem. That command center was not spotted by Tyler either. Tyler got really no scouting intel whatsoever, so kind of a useless probe scout here early. It's a shame that he scouted in the wrong direction. Warp gate research now on the way. A Stalker getting pumped out as well. Not using any chrono boosts on the gateway just yet. He is chrono boosting out warp gate research as these Marines pick up the central Xel Naga watchtower. Just gaining a little bit of map control while Ensnare is trying to expand here. His command center is nearly complete. And we see at Tyler's base that he's putting down 2 more gateways. I'm wondering where Tyler's going to take this build from here. There are a lot of different things you can do off of 3 gateways. This SCV sort of takes the back route up the large ramp, just hanging out down near the potential 3rd base of Tyler. 2 more barracks on the way, and still no gas for our Terran player. That poor SCV is going to get taken out. SCV is pretty useless against Stalkers. And yeah, so no gas. Actually, now there is one refinery. Oh, no, that's a barracks. I looked on the minimap only. See, he's putting both refineries down at the same time. So Ensnare delaying all gas until about the 5-minute mark, at which point he is putting down both refineries simultaneously. So an interesting 3 barracks command center opening with no gas. Warp gate research now complete. Chrono boost slightly wasted on that cybernetics core as warp gate research finished well before the chrono boost expired. Proxy pylon going down, sort of on the low ground just outside of Ensnare's base. Hopefully Ensnare is not going to discover that pylon, but he actually is. Oh, he's not going to head down with that SCV. I thought he might head down and discover that. Oh, he is actually queuing up a move command, so he is going to know about this proxy pylon. So Ensnare immediately is going to get in a very defensive position, but he's also moving out his 2nd orbital. Look, and good decision making. He was going to land it at the natural. Obviously, that's not a good idea after spotting the pylon, and now we're going to have a big exchange right here. Ensnare's got a bunch of Marines. Guardian Shield is an incredible spell versus Marines. 4 Zealots leading the way, 4 Stalkers as well as a Sentry. All the SCVs forced off the line, or at least a lot of them. And those Marines making their way to a good choke point, preventing, Zealots from getting good surface area. The bunker now is nearly complete as well. And after that bunker finishes, this aggression is going to be thwarted. There is a Nexus on the way, and a SCV hanging out on the low ground there as well. Could probably scout that Nexus in a minute or two. The 4th and 5th barracks are nearly complete. 2 tech labs going down on those barracks as well. The 2nd assimilator on the way for Tyler. So pretty delayed on that gas as well. I can see on the minimap that the SCV has gotten into the main base of Tyler, but didn't do any, there was nothing really to scout besides the Nexus at the natural. So both players aware that, their opponents are going for very macro-oriented builds. Both players having, second bases up relatively early in the game. Uh-oh, this orbital is taking a lot of damage from these stalkers, down in the yellow already. Down at 800 hit points, 845 hit points, and it does manage to get back onto the high ground. So I'm wondering when Ensnare is going to want to try to bust out of this containment. As I can see on the production tab, we do have concussive shells along with combat shields and a Ghost Academy on the way. Robotics facility over halfway complete now as well. I'm wondering what other production facilities we're going to see from Tyler as his second base kicks in the next minute or two. Now, moving the orbital command back out, it looks like Ensnare is going to move out with these pretty heavy force of Marines and Marauders as well. And good timing on that because concussive shells is complete. Oh, he could have maybe taken out one of the stalkers there because concussive shells, I'm about 99% sure, yeah, it did complete there. Focusing down the pylon as well, and that Pro barely escaping with his life. As we can see on the worker count, huge worker advantage right now going to Tyler. Hopefully we'll pull up the units tab in another second, but I thought it was about 10 worker advantage here for Liquid.Tyler, which is pretty solid, staying on top of his pro production. But of course the Terran player Ensnare is always going to have mules off of 2 orbital commands as well. A couple of ghosts getting pumped out of the tech lab barracks, Stimpack research on the way, and we can see the robotics bay actually nearly done as well. So upon seeing that Ensnare is going really heavy bio, Tyler has decided to get Colossi. He's getting 1 Colossus out of his robotics facility right now, while Ensnare here really turtling pretty hard. He's got a ton of Marines Marauders. He's got a couple of ghosts there at the bottom of the ramp. And does the observer see the ghosts? It didn't spot the ghosts at the bottom of the ramp, but he does spot the 5 barracks and the Ghost Academy. So certainly Tyler is going to know what to expect with this. Ghosts, of course, going to be used for their EMP round against this army here. Here's the worker tab. 47 probes to 30 SCVs, plus the mules, of course. But yeah, as we, over the next 4 or 5 minutes, I think we're going to see a nice boom or influx of units from our Protoss player. He's going to have a nice army advantage. 102 supply to 78 in favor of Tyler as well, as we're going to sort of head into this second large engagement here. A ton of Marines and Marauders, a couple of Ghosts in the army as well, so keep an eye out for those EMPs, although Ensnare does scan and decides actually not to move out. This observer, though, keeping a good close eye on the Terran Bio Ball. Extended Thermal Lance on the way, as there is 1 Colossus out. 2 Colossus make it, and a 3rd one on the way, as the Terran player at the 12-minute mark, Ensnare is finally putting down a factory. Very delayed tech from this fast-expanding Terran player. A couple more gateways on the way. How many gateways total here? Actually, just 5, I believe, right now. A forge on the way as well. So off of the income off 2 bases, 5 gateways, 1 robotics facility. We'll see what else he wants to do. Tyler often really favors lots of upgrades as well, so I'm sure that we're going to see chrono boosted. He's actually getting +1 armor, as we can see on the production tab right now, and even more gateways going down at this point in the game. So that +1 armor really going to pay dividends in the next few minutes, as Tyler's just going to, wait for those upgrades and wait for his timing window to try to do some real damage here. Back at the Terran base, Ensnare finally has a starport complete. He flips it onto the reactor, and he's pumping out dual medevac. You're going to need those medevacs if you're going to want to be using stim packs, of course. And yeah, a very common phenomenon in TVP. +1 armor on the way. believe, yeah, +1 attack for the infantry is already complete as well. Still a pretty hefty supply advantage in Tyler's favor. 28 supply differential. And this factory not doing much. Absolutely no mech play coming from Ensnare. Just going to use that factory for scouting. Ton of Protoss units here, and this is the timing window. This is the timing right here Tyler was waiting for. He's got his 4th Colossi. He's got a ton of Zealots and some Stalkers as well. Twilight Council on the way. Very few sentries, actually, which is a little bit less orthodox. Usually in PvT, you see the force fields, you know, used quite a bit to sort of section off the Terran Bio Ball and, you know, capitalize on the splash damage from the Colossi. Interesting decision here from Ensnare, moving his army sort of down the left side of the map and then using that low ground, and maybe he's going to try to come up from behind and try some kind of pincer attack. I believe I just heard an observer get taken out, and oh, is that Ghost even shoots an EMP across the little chasm there. That's the Protoss player. That factory is going to burn down for sure, and looks like this is going to be a big engagement here. A big bio ball with just a couple. Oh, nice EMPs, getting a whole bunch of Stalkers there, some Zealots as well, and it looks like this is going to be it. The stim pack goes down. A pretty nice concave from Ensnare, getting a ton of damage in. These Colossi are just doing so much damage. Finally, one of them gets taken out. We do have something of a pincer attack. There are some Marine Marauder coming in from behind as well. And is this actually going to be enough? This is honestly such a close battle here. I really don't know who's going to take it, but with the reinforcing Zealots, it looks like, oh, and barely escaping, trying to escape with the Ghosts in the medevac. I think it would have maybe been a little bit smarter to split up those medevacs. It looks like Ensnare wanted to do that for just a split second there. And the Xel Naga Watchtower still in play. Might have been mistaken about that earlier. Could have been a different version of the map, a tournament version. As the rest of the Terran Bio army sort of melts away in the middle of the map, and these Zealots and Stalkers chase the Marine Marauder medevac back nearly to the front door of Ensnare. Now just at about a 9 supply advantage. Tyler's supply lead has really plummeted a lot in this engagement. Seems that Ensnare has been quite cost effective, even though it appears that he's losing so many units. Now Tyler forced to retreat with his Stalkers, and all of a sudden I'm thinking that Ensnare is in a pretty good position. He does have this supply lead now, 86 to 63 as those final Stalkers get taken out, warping in a ton more units down at the natural, and Tyler here picking up a 3rd base. Interesting decision on where he chose to put down his 3rd Nexus there. He still does have an income advantage, only about 10 workers now. And wow, hats off to Ensnare. Seriously, like, he was down close to 40 supply when Tyler hit his timing window, but with some well-placed EMPs and just a good concave on that Marine Marauder medevac ball, Ensnare was able to stay cost efficient, and yeah, now he's in the lead. So +2 armor on the way. I'm sure that Tyler's been using some chrono boosts on that forge as well. That's always something he likes to do. This SCV here just doing some scouting, making sure there's nothing too funny going on. No more medevacs on the way out, just Vikings, Marauders, a couple Marines. Just sticking to that tried, tested, and true bio ball for Ensnare here. And it looks like Ensnare is now going to be lining up a little timing attack of his own as he is moving out into the middle of the map, and looks like these armies are going to collide here. There are 3 Colossi, though, able to... Oh, and you do not want to get your Colossi out of position there. 1 Colossi gets sniped, a 2nd Colossi goes down without doing... Oh, and all 3 of them! That is absolutely awful for our Protoss player. He's left now with just Zealots and Stalkers. He is incorporating more sentries into his army, but these Marine Marauder really catching Tyler off guard, coming in from that side, you know, back door passage, whatever you want to call it, and catching Tyler's Colossi out of position. Tyler, though, with a few sentries left and some Stalkers, but it's not enough damage per second. Sentries don't do almost any damage. They're really just the caster units, and against Marine Marauders, they're not gonna stand a chance. Especially with some nice EMPs that we've really been seeing all game long. Now, Ensnare just hanging out in the middle of the map. He can enjoy just about complete map control as he has, you know, finally leading. I would assume, yeah, he's definitely leading Actually, it's probably pretty close on the income. I was going to say he's leading on the income, but no. I mean, Tyler has that third base up and running, but I'm just wondering how long it actually is going to stay up and running for. I'm not even sure if Ensnare has actually spotted it. Let's see. Yeah, we can see on the minimap right there, this is Ensnare's vision. He does not know about the third base of Tyler. I'm wondering how much free mining Tyler's actually going to get at that third base, as the third orbital command now for Ensnare morphing in at a third base that's closer to home, as opposed to the decision that Tyler made to take this sort of 9 o'clock third base as opposed to his own third base. Just a sort of an interesting decision there. That Nexus has full energy, and now that the Protoss ground army has +2 armor, he's getting attack as well, just +1 attack for now. I'm wondering, I mean, Tyler has closed the supply differential quite a bit. He's only down by about 45 supply now. Percentage-wise, that's not nearly as bad as it was about 5 minutes ago when Ensnare was like doubling his supply. But Ensnare's just, ooh, and another observer taken out with that scan. And Ensnare just macroing up a huge amount of forces, waiting for this final push here, and this is going to be it. So, oh, nice EMPs, especially that first one, getting a lot of sentries and stalkers as well. But there's still enough for some force fields preventing any kiting from these Marine Marauders, but it doesn't even matter. There are just so many Terran units here, and they are upgraded units, even landing some of the Vikings. Finally, going to be spotting this Nexus, and upon spotting this third base, Tyler does call GG. Doesn't seem like, I don't know which one of them, I guess Ensnare hasn't left the game yet, so the replay continues. But this game is over. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1 between Ensnare and Tyler. I'm pretty sure this is best of 3, or maybe they were just playing some games on the ladder, but there are a whole bunch of Korean replays out that I'm going to be casting for you guys. I'm going to cast game 2 between these two players next, so stay tuned for that. I'll put links for game 2 between Ensnare and Tyler. Annotations are in the description or as a video response or whatever. And yeah, stay tuned for that one. It'll be up momentarily. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Once again, this is Starcraft. Peace out.